We're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as you're able and join me in welcoming City Council and the playing of the national anthem and the reading of the invocation.
Would you please remain standing as you're able as I read the invocation to begin the council meeting for the month of June. As we come together today, we recognize the great responsibilities that are laid upon us. Our council will always strive to understand the needs of the people we serve and to use power wisely and well. Our purpose is to establish and maintain a city of prosperity and righteousness where freedom prevails and where justice rules. We acknowledge the rich history of this land, which includes the Anishinaabe and Haudenosaunee peoples. Today, there are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples who live or work in the city. The intent of this acknowledgement is to recognize our responsibility to use and take care of these lands responsibly and respectfully, while remembering the generations past and considering the generations yet to come. We respect and seek to continue and promote the long-standing relationships with the area's First Nations, Six Nations of the Grand River First Nation, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation, and the Indigenous peoples who reside here in the city of Brantford. Let us also not forget those who've served our community and who are no longer with us, so that we continue to do the work that we must in their memory. Please be seated. Clerk, would you please take the roll?
Councillor Van Tilburg.
Here.
Councillor Carpenter.
Here.
Councillor Sluss.
Present.
Councillor McCurry. Here. Councillor Sullivan.
Present.
Councillor Samwell.
Present.
Councillor Hunt.
Present.
Councillor Martin.
Here.
Councillor Caputo.
Present.
Councillor Sokoli.
Here.
And Mayor Davis.
Here.
Through the chair, roll call's been taken.
All right. Does any member need to declare a pecuniary interest regarding any of the items on tonight's agenda? Councillor McCurry.
Mayor, yes, the clerk has the item number. It pertains to
13.4.1.
Thank you for filling that in, Mayor. Thank you very much.
If you just confirm, please, the nature of your comment.
Oh, it's a business relationship.
All right. And that's the title of that is Amendment to Chapter 478 of the City of Brantford Municipal Code. Any other declarations? Seeing none, we'll now move on to the separation of items. So we do have three items that are separated already. We have the West Brant Access Road Environmental Assessment Update. That's 13.11. That's because we have two delegations. There's 13.4.6, which is the firework usage report, because we have a delegation. And then we have 13.4.1, and that's because of the conflict that Councilor McCurry just indicated. Councilor Van Tilburg.
13.3.2.
That's the draft plan of vacant land condominium.
Correct.
So noted. Anyone else? Councilor Samwell.
13.2.1, please.
That's the Brantford Brand Housing Stability Plan. All right. Not seeing any other requests for separation. I believe Councillor Sullivan, you have the motion to approve the items that have not been separated.
Absolutely, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself, second by my ward mate, Councillor Secoli, that the all items contained in the committee reports 13.1 to 13.5, not separated for discussion purposes, be approved.
Mr. Clerk, would you please read the title of the items we're voting on?
Through the chair, the following items are subject to the vote. So from the committee, the whole planning and administration report, items 13.12, strategic asset management policy update, 13.13, city of Brantford drinking water quality management system 2025 annual update. From the social services committee report, 13.22, update to shared social services 2027 budget timeline. From the planning committee report, 13.31, zoning bylaw amendment PZ-03-26. From the committee of the whole planning administration report, 13.42, approval to develop an indoor sports facility, 13.43, delegation of authority bylaw update, 13.44, foreign direct investment phase 2, 13.45, overview of development charge incentives for rental housing, 13.47, responsible commuting and artificial intelligence policies, 13.48, options for public art honoring Terry Fox, 13.49, Brantford Heritage Committee report, 13.410, Community Safety and Wellbeing Plan 2025 annual update, 13.411, Municipal Accommodation Tax 2025 annual update, 13.412, addressing community safety, mental health, and addiction through compassion, 13.413, Fulton Street two-way traffic. From the Finance Committee report, 13.51, 2025 year-end operating budget surplus, 13.52, quarterly reserve and reserve fund update, 13.53, update on capital projects, 13.54, updates to finance policies, 13.55, first quarter casino update, 13.56, quarterly status report of contracts awarded, 13.57, treasurer's annual report on lease financing agreements for 2025, 13.58, treasurer's investment report, and finally, 13.59, investing in property at 129 Erie Avenue.
Please take the vote.
All items not separate for discussion purposes carries unanimously on recorded vote. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel Carpenter, Martin Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
So council members, we have next on the agenda, the Brantford Tourism Development Corporation Annual General Meeting. Because we do have a recognition of achievement with a group in the council chambers, I'm proposing that we deal with that first. Not seeing any objections, we'll go on to deal with the recognition of achievement this evening. And we are recognizing the Echo Bowl National Championship team. They're not all here, but we have some of them here. And I'm going to ask that Councillor Samwell join me as we go down below to do the presentation, as it was Councillor Samwell that made the request of the mayor's office to organize this. And we want to thank mayor's office staff for doing that. So, Councillor Samwell. So it's with great pleasure, and this is probably what most of us enjoy at the council meeting, and that is recognizing members of our community who've gone on to have gone on to make certain accomplishments that are worth recognizing as they, particularly this group, who have won a national championship. And so we're very proud to celebrate a group of young athletes who have brought great pride to our community. And it's my privilege to recognize the Echo, if I yell, it might pick it up, the Echo Bowl National Championship team for their outstanding performance at the Youth Bowl Canada National Championships held in Winnipeg last month. The team's results included impressive fourth place finish by Alex. Yeah. Mechanical issue. You know what they say, there's always more than one way to do it. So, and we're good at doing that here in Brantford. So the team's results include an impressive fourth place finish by Alex Skelton and Sophia Lindquist in the junior girls doubles, missing the bronze medal by only 1 point. Evan Luker and Maxime Talbot earned silver in the senior boys doubles. Raven Hamaker, who's here tonight, won gold in senior girls singles, while Alyssa Birkby and Emily Dunn, they're also here tonight, captured gold in the senior girls doubles while earning the title of national champions. Competing at the national level takes a significant commitment from players, coaches, and families alike. Your resolve, your resilience, and sportsmanship have made our community very proud. Let's give them a big hand. And so, of course, this doesn't happen without the support of family, and some families, some of the athletes' families are here tonight. And of course, their coach, Dave Birkby, who's also here tonight. And, you know, we all look forward to what you're going to accomplish next year, but let's formally recognize what you've done this year. And we do have some certificates for you. And Councillor Samuel, I believe you've got them. So I think the first we're going to recognize is Raven Hamaker. Raven, come on up. Thank you. Next, we're going to, I think we'll recognize them together because they are the team that captured gold in the senior girls doubles. So that's Alyssa Birkby and Emily Dunn. Come on up. And some of the athletes couldn't be here tonight, but their coach, Dave Birkby, is here. So come on up, coach. Let's give you a big recognition. We got a certificate for you too.
All right, so we're still also going to provide certificates for Alex Skelton, fourth place finisher, yeah. For Sophie Lindquist. Evan Luker. Maxime Talbot. Martin Talbot. And Mark Skelton. Congratulations.
So members, we'll take a very short break so members of council can congratulate the coach and the young woman as well. Okay, with that, that start to our meeting, we'll now move into what was item 6, which is the Brantford Tourism Development Corporation Annual General Meeting. And for members of the public, this is our municipal service corporation, which we established approximately 2 years ago. And it's intended to oversee the distribution of monies we receive through the accommodation tax that the city's been levying for the last 18 or so months. And so we have the chair of the Municipal Service Corporation, Chair McCreary, and we also have the vice chair, Vice President Jay Goldberg. If you please come forward to make a presentation on behalf of the Brantford Tourism Development Corporation. So there is a presentation, members, and if there's time within the 10 minutes, they can take questions from members of the committee or the council. And then following the presentation, I'll then ask Councillor McCreary to come up to put forward a motion to receive the report. So with that, I'll turn the floor over to the chair and the vice chair.
I guess we'll leave the table right where it is. Thanks for receiving us tonight, Mayor and members of council. To my left is Jay Goldberg. I'm the chair of the corporation. Jay is the vice chair. And tonight we're going to take you through the presentation with respect to the annual general meeting. Jay's going to look after the clicker. I'm going to do the presentation, and then Jay's going to answer the questions. Make them easy. Thank you. If we could go to the next slide. So you may recall that going back a number of years ago, Councillor Martin and I introduced a resolution which led to the room tax resolution. And so what we came out of that with was the municipal accommodation tax. Our process early on involved consultation with the hotel industry, which initially I did with Sarah Monroe, and then secondly with Cara Davey. We consulted with every hotel operator in the city of Brantford, and our process recognized all the reasonable concerns, suggestions, and ideas that we received from the hoteliers. So we did establish a bylaw to implement the municipal accommodation tax. Our rate is 4% of room rate, and that began March 1st of 24. The proceeds are divided 50-50 between the corporation of the city of Brantford and the Brantford Tourism Development Corporation. And as many of you are aware, the city of Brantford share is applied directly to the capital costs of our sports and entertainment center. Next. So we were established by Articles of Incorporation in September of 2024, and we're governed by the Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. We're a corporate entity that's subject to and complies with the provisions of the Not-for-Profit Corporations Act. And one of those provisions is the requirement for a shareholders' annual general meeting, of which the city of Brantford is the sole member and sole shareholder. And next. So our objectives are you can see them on the screen. We engage in the delivery of and support for tourism promotion, tourism product development in the city of Brantford. We bid and secure regional, provincial, and national events. We're hoping to land things like the Memorial Cup and the Brier in the eventuality of our future success. We're building a fund which is contributed from folks who don't live here, and that helps to support new tourism activities in the city of Brantford. So in short, we're using other people's money to support local groups, create fun events for local folks, and build more capacity in our hospitality sector. So the board members you'll see on the screen, I'm the chair, Jay is the vice chair, Jen Davies, Mayor Davis, Bill Harding, citizen, Abid Pathon, Rose Sicoli, Councillor Rose Sicoli, Councillor John Celeste, and Andy Straisfeld are the members. The working group hierarchy has changed somewhat. Jay has assumed the position of chair, and I believe Jen is the vice chair now. And we've added Andy Straisfeld to that committee as well. So that's the board composition. So we held our first meeting February 18 of 25, where we adopted a bylaw that established organizational resolutions of the directors of the Brantford Tourism Development Corporation and approved a municipal accommodation tax admin policy, which laid the groundwork for the board to become responsible stewards of that funding. So you've seen the the membership of the working group. The working group is the organization within the corporation that receives the applications from applicants and which makes decisions and recommendations that go to the whole board for the awarding or not awarding of grants for the applications that we receive. We worked through the better part of the first year without really a scoring matrix. We were learning as we go, but we've developed a scoring matrix in the last couple of months. And now we can conclusively and logistically and logically say to people, you were awarded or not awarded based upon some finite criteria. Corporation is supported by many staff, not the least of which Nicole Wilmot, Joe Muto, Cara Davey, Amber Kane, Joelle Daniels, and our clerk, Chris Gauthier. Next, the funding model. So the first year we established a funding model for the corporation, 50% of which goes to tourism product development and signature events. 30% is put away for a museum district and mid-sized performance space account. And the remaining 20% is dedicated to the development of a new grant program for tourism-oriented businesses. So Activate Brantford grant program, we developed and adopted that program intending to provide tourism businesses and event organizers with funding to address the goals, which are in fact increasing overnight stays in our community, increasing visitation to the community, beautification and placemaking, and also fun. Fun is a portion of what we do. We like to create opportunities for people in our community to get out and enjoy themselves. So your grant application requirements, you have to be physically located in Brantford or executing an event or project in Brantford, new signature events or festivals, large-scale tournaments or conferences that drive overnight stays, unique product development. And one of the things that we clarified early on is we are not going to be funding annual events. This is intended to create new opportunities, new hospitality programs, and more fun. Grant recipients, next slide. So you see there a list of folks, organizations that received grants in 2025. Brantford Beats and Eats and Brantford Tourism Development Corp is thankful to Councillor Caputo. That was his brainchild, and we're happy that we could have helped make that come about. And more good stuff to come out of that festival in future. Brantford Harlequins 75th anniversary, 2026 Fire Fit Regional Championship, the Brantford Club Bowling Tour, Grand River Arts Festival, and we have a ton of folks who've applied for and some who've received funding in 2026. So we'll go to the next slide, which is the financials. So in the year past, we grossed $731,000 in MAT revenue, net after expenses of $359,000 each for City and Tourism Development Corporation. Next slide, Jay. Financial update. So you'll see that in 2025, we granted $72,500 through the Activate Brantford grant program and committed to funding $11,500 in 2026. Our surplus at the end of 25 is just over $500,000. And the expenses for the corporation in 2025 included management fees, honorariums, audit fees, and grants. And Mayor, I believe that's the extent of our presentation for Mayor and Council tonight. We'd be open to answering any easy questions that may arise.
All right, well, thank you very much. We do have about 3 minutes if members of council have any questions. Seeing none. Well, thank you very much for the delegation, and thank you, Jay, for your service to our new Municipal Services Corporation. So Councilor Curry, if you can come up, and we'll ask you to move the resolution to receive the report and the annual financial statement.
It's quite a different experience down there. I'll be moving this and Councillor Martin will be the seconder. And it reads that report number 2026-224 regarding the Brantford Tourism Development Corporation 25 annual report and audited financial statements be received.
All right, Speakers, Councillor Hunt.
Thank you, and through you to staff, the financial report, $2,500 in honorariums. I'm wondering if someone could explain who that's paid to and for what.
Good evening, Kara Davy, Manager of Tourism, Culture and Sport. The board made the recommendation to provide honorariums to the citizen members only. And it's $100 per meeting. So whether that's board meeting or working group meeting, and that's what they receive.
Thank you. And just one other question on the financials. I just wanted to, the management fee, I'm assuming, is to cover City of Brantford staff time for the corporation.
Through the chair to you, Councillor Hunt, that's correct.
Thanks, Kara.
All right, not seeing any other requests for discussion or questions. I'll call the vote on receiving the annual financial statement and the annual report.
Item 6.1 carries unanimously on recorded votes. Members of council voting in favor, Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so we have no statutory public hearing on the agenda tonight. We've already done the recognition of achievement. So that takes us to proclamations. We have one proclamation on tonight's agenda. Councillor Samuel, I understand that you will be moving that. You'll state your seconder, the motion to approve the proclamation, then you can go on to read the proclamation 9.1.
Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Van Tilburg that the following proclamations be approved. 9.1 Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Month, June 2026. Whereas June has been declared as Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder PTSD Awareness Month of each year around the world, and whereas PTSD can occur after experiencing or witnessing one or more traumatic events, PTSD and other trauma and stress-related disorders are treatable and can happen to anyone who has experienced or witnessed a traumatic event, and whereas paramedics and other public safety personnel, healthcare workers, helping professionals through various vicarious trauma, police officers, firefighters, and correction staff face increased risk associated with workplace stress. Certain populations, including women, refugees, and Indigenous peoples, are also statistically at higher risk. And whereas sharing evidence-based resources whereas sharing evidence-based resources, engaging communities about PTSD and anxiety disorders can reduce stigma and improve the well-being of communities. And whereas PTSD Awareness Month is an opportunity to raise awareness about PTSD and address the stigma that can be a barrier to seeking effective support and care. And whereas the Canadian Mental Health Association, Brant Haldeman Norfolk Branch, and other community mental health agencies offer resources for those living with PTSD and other mental health issues. Now therefore it be resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brantford hereby proclaims June as Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Month and June 27th as Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Day, and encourages those struggling to reach out for support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Samuel. So I'll call the vote.
The proclamation carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor, Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
Right, so that takes us to presentations, delegations. We have 3 delegations that are registered for this evening, 2 in respect to the West Brant Access Route Environmental Assessment, and a 3rd in respect to the fireworks usage report. I believe Councillor McCreary, you would like to move a motion to waive the rules so we hear from a 4th delegation.
With your leave, Mayor, yes, I would, seconded by Councillor Martin, that we waive the rules to allow for a delegation by Bill LaSalle this evening. Speaking to the fireworks issue.
So it's seconded by Councillor Martin. All right. Any discussion? Not? I'll call the vote. And this requires a 2/3 vote.
Motion to waive the rules carries unanimously and recorded vote of 11-0. Councillors voting in favor, Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, so now we have 4 delegations for this evening. Before we hear from the first delegation, as required by our city's procedural bylaw, I am required to remind those present that we do have rules that apply to delegations presentations, and they are as follows. No person shall display any sign, banner, or placard in the meeting room other than materials that, in the opinion of the presiding chair, are legitimate audiovisual aids necessary in connection with any presentation to be made to council. All persons present shall use polite and respectful language and shall refrain from the use of any language or the making of any gesture that is disrespectful or offensive. Thirdly, all persons addressing council shall speak only on the subject that's in debate and shall not speak on any other subject. 4, no person shall applaud participants in debate or engage in conversation or behavior that may disrupt the proceedings of the meeting. So with that, we'll move on to the first presenter, and this is Stephanie Wrench in respect to item 13.1.1, the West Brant Access Route Environmental Assessment. So Stephanie, if you please come forward. So you just press the button, you'll see a red light come on. Okay, so I'd ask you just please confirm your name and address, and then you'll have 10 minutes to make your presentation inclusive of any questions.
My name is Stephanie Wrench, and my address was included in my delegation. So for privacy, I'd rather just leave it there if it's okay.
Carry on.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. Further to the reports I sent each of you last week on this topic, I'm here to discuss a few of the ecological concerns and issues pertaining to the proposed West Brant access route. According to a newspaper article from 1980, there was strong opposition to this proposal, and to this day, 46 years later, those who truly understand the environmental impact and potential ramifications remain in opposition. The first thing I wish to mention is that the certain and potential negative risks and ramifications associated with this proposal are numerous, but I will speak of only a few, starting with the deer. The proposed road would totally block the deer from being able to safely cross Jennings Road to get to the river. The drawings do not include wildlife crossings. However, the deer would attempt to cross the 4-lane road because they too need the river. I think we all know what that would look like. It is no small thing to hit a deer. Approximately 70% of Southern Ontario's wetlands have been converted into development and other land uses. Within the proposed Bridge Road area are wetlands, some of which are deemed as provincially significant. Yet all wetlands are significant. They support diverse and intricate ecosystems and are, in essence, the kidneys of the earth. Not only do they filter contaminants and trap sediment, but they also regulate water quantity by absorbing excess water during floods and releasing it during droughts. Depending on depth, 1 acre of wetland can hold between 330,000 and 1.5 million gallons of water. Given the substantially increased risk of flooding in recent years, Brantford cannot afford to lose any more wetlands. Approximately 10% of the Earth's surface is occupied by karst landscape. Northwest Brantford is a known karst area. Karst landscapes are deemed as hazardous sites due to the risk of unstable land. Karst is created by the dissolving of carbonate rocks such as limestone and dolomite, thereby creating an underground network of crevices, tunnels, and caves, and thus the potential for sinkholes. Northwest Brantford also contains gypsum, another karst feature, which was mined primarily during the 1800s. During the 1990s failed attempt to construct an underwater wastewater pipeline, gypsum was found in the area of the river where the proposed bridge is intended. According to an 1858 map, this is the area where the Cleator mine was located. In fact, many gypsum mines were unrecorded at that time, including wild mines, which were located on private farming lands. Section 5.3 of Ontario's provincial planning statement says, development on, abutting, or adjacent to lands affected by mine hazards or former mineral mining operations may be permitted only if rehabilitation or other measures to address and mitigate known or suspected hazards are underway or have been completed. Given the unrecorded and unknown locations of some of the old gypsum mines, it is reasonable to believe that they have not all been rehabilitated. What about the Cleator mine? In a 1994 article, which discusses the Grand River sewer crossing dispute, a 1913 quote from L.H. Cole of the Canadian Department of Mines was included, quote, underground waters and streams have in places dissolved the lower part of gypsum beds, leaving large underground channels or caves, extending in some cases over 100 feet in length, varying from 5 to 30 feet in width, end quote. Quote from Jean Farquharson in 1998, documents in the registry office indicated a road collapse along Powerline Road, and the road had to be located further south. This was in the area described as where one of the mines existed, end quote. Disappearing streams are also prominent features of karst, as they signify probable underground cavities. They have been historically documented in this area and were also mentioned in a 1994 newspaper article pertaining to the sewer crossing dispute. The following is a quote from Ilse Kramer in the year 2000. Another outing was into the Northwest to do more research on the fen and disappearing streams, end quote. Ilse Kramer was renowned for her instrumental work and documentation on the archaeology, gypsum mines, and various karst features in Northwest Brantford. In fact, Kramer's Way is named after her. The Tufa Mounds are another significant feature of karst and are located east of the area of the proposed bridge. Ilse documented a 10-foot water spout in this area in 1994. The Tufa site is very rare and was designated as an earth science area of natural and scientific interest in 2005. Daryl Cowell is a geoscientist specializing in karst who was hired by the city in 2012 to testify during an OMB hearing at that time. Quote from Daryl's witness statement. Common karst features include sinkholes, caves, and springs. Section 5.2 of Ontario's provincial planning statement says, development shall generally be directed to areas outside of hazardous sites. Hazardous sites are defined as property or lands that could be unsafe for development and site alteration due to naturally occurring hazards. These may include unstable soils or unstable bedrock, and in brackets, karst topography. Development in karst areas and/or old mining sites that have not been properly rehabilitated has contributed to the ever-increasing occurrences of sinkholes, especially in recent years. Florida is a good example of this. Due to the rapid rate of water flow, karst aquifers are more vulnerable to contamination than other types of aquifers. In fact, the City of Brantford's own documentation illustrates a large aquifer directly east of the proposed bridge as being a highly vulnerable aquifer. The proposed bridge would be approximately 3 kilometers upstream from Brantford's only drinking water intake for more than 100,000 people. In 2004 and 2006, GRCA studies concluded that a sewage spill 11.6 kilometers upstream from the intake at Wilkes Dam would allow for the 6 hours needed to adequately respond to a spill. Thus, what would happen if a spill were to occur only 3 kilometers upstream from the drinking water intake? In light of this information, a significant spill at the proposed bridge location could be catastrophic. A human being can only survive without water for 3 to 5 days. And what about Six Nations and the aquatic life and wildlife who also rely upon the rivers for sustenance? Even in the absence of a spill, the construction of a 4-lane traffic bridge would introduce significant contamination to the area, as would its future use. To quote Leroy Littlebear, Blackfoot elder and scholar, what you do to the land, to the animals, to the water, you do to yourself. 50,000 liters of jet fuel spilled onto the 401 outside of Cambridge in January 2019, quickly moving into Aberfoyle Creek and Mill Creek. As a result, wells had to be closed and ice fishing at Shades Mills was canceled for the remainder of the season. It took more than 2 months to clean up that spill. Due to a collapsing sewer line in January of this year, 240 to 300 million gallons of raw sewage spilled into the Potomac River. Spills do happen. What if a spill was to occur only 3 kilometers upstream from Brantford's only drinking water intake? Can you guarantee that the proposed West Brant access route would pose no risk to the drinking water for more than 100,000 people? And can you guarantee the long-term stability of a bridge built on known karst, which would be in violation of Ontario's provincial planning statement? Please cancel this excessively high-priced, unnecessary, and risky proposal in favor of the needs of the many as opposed to the interests of the few. Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Yes, we have time, I think, for one question. Councillor, we'll take 2, Councillor Martin, then Councillor Carpenter. So please keep it to one question.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. My question's quick. You talk about wetlands that'll be disturbed. I've ridden the trail through there and I don't remember any wetlands. Can you describe where they are exactly?
There are wetlands all through that area. Some of them are provincially significant and some of them are unidentified, but they're through that area. They're actually noted on one of the Parsons reports. So they've actually labeled where each wetland is so you can see them.
Okay, I'll have to have a look for that. Thank you.
Councillor Carpenter.
Thank you. You've done a lot of work here. Thank you. How long have you been doing this work and working on this particular area and this study?
I've been studying this since February when this proposal was revived.
So you've done a lot of work.
I've been studying it like constantly. Yes.
Oh, thank you for your work. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Stephanie, for coming out tonight and sharing us your views on this. And we will be dealing with this item later this evening.
Thank you.
So we have another delegation in respect to the same item. That's Carly Sortis, and this also is in reference to the West Brant Access Road environmental assessment.
Carly Sortis, and my address is when I walked in and signed up for my delegation, if that's okay, Mayor Davis.
That's fine, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and councilors, and thank you so much for the time tonight to be able to speak. As you know, my name is Carly Sortis, and I'm here as a resident who's been following the West Brant Access Road, as most of us still know as the Oak Park Road extension. I'm not here to tell you that the people who support this road are wrong or to be frustrated, but they're not. West Brant does deserve traffic solutions, and the pressure on Brant Avenue and as well as Paris Road is real. Anyone who has sat in that congestion knows it, so I want to be fair that this is a genuine problem and the people who want it solved are not being unreasonable. But I'm here because I think that the way that we are solving it deserves a much harder look than a report to simply receive on the agenda. Tonight, you're being asked to receive the report for the preferred alternate update. And I know be received is supposed to be routine, and you guys may know that of me delegating in the past on Bill 5 being received by council. But it's supposed to mean that we've seen it. But I gently push back on that framing because in this context, receiving this report quietly signals that council is comfortable letting this specific route continue to be advanced. And I don't think we are comfortable yet. I don't think the community has been comfortable. This term of council ends in October and we're 4 months out from an election, and what's in front of you tonight is a milestone that narrows a long-standing project down to one preferred route, and it's landing on the desk of our future councillors. That's about to replace quite a few of you by voters. For many of you are running for maybe one seat, or as mayor, as 2 of you guys are, as I know, retiring as well. So we quite literally have a brand new council in a few months. So I don't think it's right for this council to lock in the direction of a generational project in its final months. A decision this big deserves a fresh democratic mandate, and I'm not delegating to be an obstruction, but because it's just respect for the people who will be voting in October. I'll also say for the record that this isn't an ordinary staff report. The whole process sits inside of a provincially facilitated dispute between the city and the county because we couldn't reach an agreement on our own. When something requires a provincial facilitator to move it forward, there's this kind of thing that should be maybe slowing it down and not speeding it up to be a received motion. The documents the city itself has published,
Yeah, the
Delegation
sub-
straight off topic.
Charlie, the subject in debate tonight
thank you,
is not what you're referring to.
thank
It's
you.
the West Brant road access. I'd appreciate if you keep your comments confined to that, please.
Thank you. The documents in its city has been published leave some serious questions open. The new study design report from its past February openly says that the continuation of the 2021 environmental assessment, the same quarter, it's just a new name and a new consultant. And in 2021, the work, the transit and the demand management alternatives was rejected using pre-COVID traffic data and on an assumption that nearly 74% of trips would always be private vehicles, treating that number as a fixed fact instead of something policy could actually change. There's no climate or emissions analysis anywhere in the evolution, even though residents have raised climate at the very first public meeting back in 2020. And the duty to consult Six Nations of the Grand River is acknowledged in writing, but nowhere in the document is there any record that Six Nations 2021 concerns were ever resolved. This corridor runs through land flagged as having very high archaeological assessment or potential, and the Tufa Mounds and provincially recognized natural area sits right inside of the studied area. Lastly, you can't deny that this community feels like it hasn't had a real voice since this came back. So when a report like this moves through committee and around here to be quietly received, it reinforces that the feeling that decisions are happening around us and it does not include us. So here is my ask. I'm asking that a member of council consider an amendment and respectfully the rest of council to approve that amendment, and that the report be received, and that the council defers any further endorsement or advancement of a preferred corridor until 2 things happen. First, that a full technical study behind this recommendation, the model, the analysis, the evolution matrix that are actually disclosed to the public and to you, and not just a summary conclusion we have here tonight, but how we got to the conclusions. And second, that this environmental assessment that won't be finished until 2027 or later, the decisions on the preferred corridor be left to the incoming council after the October election. Tonight you're being asked to receive a report that gives you conclusions, recommended corridor, the preferred solution, but not the underlying studies on the conclusions are being built. And please feel free to quote me if I'm wrong. I don't think any of us, residents or councillors, can meaningfully weigh into a large generational decision when we've been handed a summary and not the work behind it. Surely before this corridor advances any further, the people of the city deserve to see the actual evidence and have a real chance to respond. And I would hope you agree. One of the councillors said to me at the open house, "Carly, they paid me to work for 4 years, not 3.5. And I agree, I completely agree, but I challenge you all to work on meaningful, proper engagement with the community and First Nations people during the final months of your term on council instead of rushing it through. So I'll finish off by saying, please show us the work, give the public a real chance to respond, and let the council with a fresh mandate make the call once the assessment is actually complete. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Curly. With that, Councilor Carpenter.
Thanks for coming, Curly. We've been told about receiving this report. It's just receiving it. It's not making a decision on a corridor or a direction. Is that how you're seeing this?
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair, Councillor Carpenter, my understanding is council actually hasn't voted on a preferred corridor. Is that correct?
Well, this is a recommendation to study a preferred corridor.
So we haven't actually made a decision on that preferred corridor.
No.
Thank you.
All right, not seeing any other raised hands. Thank you very much, Carly. So we'll move on to our third delegation. This is in reference to the firework usage report. Mr. Dirks, I believe there you are. Sir, if you come forward and press the button so the red light comes on, you'll have, first you would introduce yourself to us and the viewing public. Then you have 10 minutes for your presentation.
I'm Jeff Dirks, owner of Max Power Fireworks in town. We have had our family business at the same location that my father started, coming into our 60th year. We have worked hard over those years to become reputable and respected business, both inside and outside of Brantford. The new change being proposed for the existing fireworks bylaw would be detrimental to our business. Not just from losing sales from residents of Brantford, but losing sales from residents from outside of Brantford. Over 80% of our sales from customers coming from outside of the city of Brantford. We get people all the way from Windsor, Sarnia, Niagara, Kitchener-Waterloo, and all of the GTA. We bring these customers into the city. They may buy gas, they may go for dinner, or do some more shopping within the city. We would lose all those sales with a ban of selling fireworks in city limits. We're disappointed that the suggested change is based upon opinions of less than 5% of population of Brantford. Just after the survey came out in April, I sent an email to both Mr. Weidrich and Mr. Binkley voicing my concerns and made suggestions and opinions of what could work for the city. I did not receive a reply from either one. Now I understand these gentlemen are busy. They have more important issues to deal with. Everyone in this room has their own more important issues to deal with. This is mine, for my business and for my family. I feel that all sides should have an opinion and input in this matter, in any matter. There were some examples in the report of nearby cities that have also banned the use of fireworks, and it mentioned the complaints have come down since the ban. I want to know how many of those cities are within 10 minutes of a native reserve that sell fireworks 365 days a year. Six Nations, and this is a fact, sells more fireworks per capita than any other location in all of Canada. The ban will not stop people from setting off fireworks. People will go to the reserve, which have less restrictions than we have. Those midnight explosions will not stop. We provide a more regulated and secure option for fireworks purchases, and we let our customers know what is allowed and what is not. We are licensed with Natural Resources Canada for storage of fireworks. There are other communities that have not banned fireworks and are successful. Toronto, Hamilton, Sussex, New Brunswick recently banned fireworks within their city, but they did not ban the sale of fireworks. They allow a local shop to sell fireworks to all the surrounding areas. Mount Pearl, Newfoundland does the same. We would like to continue selling fireworks in Brantford. We would like you to at least reconsider the sales portion of this proposal. We can help educate people purchasing fireworks. Fireworks have always been a staple for many people inside and outside of Brantford. They are fun. The ban takes away joy, and I think we need more reasons for joy, not less. That's all I have to say for
We do have some questions, I believe. Councilors would like to ask you some questions, starting with Councilor McCreary.
Welcome, sir. Thanks for coming tonight.
No problem.
So you indicated that you educate your customers. I think I heard that correctly.
Yep.
Would you be prepared to educate your customers by way of signage that fireworks are illegal in the city of Brantford?
Absolutely.
And would you keep a register of those who buy from you?
If you would want that, I can, but what I would propose is to be able to continue selling online. And I would get addresses of of those orders. I would know where they're from, and anybody from Brantford, I could give them a form and have them suggest that, and let them know within Brantford city limits, it's not allowed.
So would you be prepared not to sell to Brantford residents?
I would love to sell to Brantford residents, but
Would you be prepared to prohibit your sales to Brantford residents?
I would be, but
Okay.
many Brantford residents that buy them now actually take them outside of Brantford to shoot them off.
My question was,
Yeah.
would you be prepared to not sell to Brantford residents?
Yes, I would be.
Okay, thank you for
Okay.
that.
Councilor Martin?
Thank you. Does your business sell the display fireworks as
No.
well?
We're only the consumer fireworks.
Just the consumer?
Yeah.
Okay. And is that your main business or is that a side
No,
business?
it's a secondary business that we have.
Okay, thank you.
All right, not seeing Councilor Carpenter.
So if this passes, would you have to move your business outside the city of Brantford to be selling them illegally? If this resolution passes that prohibits you from selling fireworks, would you have to move your business outside the city of Brantford to
If I
sell them?
wanted to sell fireworks, yes, I'd have to move my business elsewhere.
And how long have you been in business? Did you say 60 years?
60 years, my dad opened a business.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Hunt?
Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for coming. You own the building on
Yeah.
Edmondson Street and have for, we just heard, almost 60 years. How much do you pay in property taxes to the city of Brantford?
We are at around 31,000 a year.
So you're an operating business paying $31,000 a year in property taxes
Yeah.
to the city of Brantford. So if this ban of selling consumer fireworks goes through, what would happen to your business on Edmondson Street in Ward 4?
We would lose approximately 40% of our revenue between all businesses. And the time that we are allowed to be open for the 12 days a year is 75% of our sales for the year.
Okay, so you're already complying with the days that you can sell.
Yes, actually.
So you're not selling outside that time.
That's
frame.
right. We had 3 people come into our store today and I had to turn them away because I was not allowed to sell.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Jeff, and
Thank
thanks
you.
for coming.
Okay, I think that, thank you very much,
All
Mr.
right.
Dirks. We will again be dealing with this
All right.
fairly quickly.
Thank you.
And we have a fourth delegate, which was added by the motion passed earlier, and so Bill LaSalle. If you please come up, sir. And sir, you as well have 10 minutes to make your presentation after you turn the microphone on and introduce yourself to the members of the council.
Bill LaSalle from Brantford, North Park Street. And I'm here to talk about some of the disadvantages of fireworks. We often hear about the dangers to property and person and noise pollution and sometimes the air pollution. But I'm here to talk about the animal life and the effects it has on the animals. The fireworks can and does cause the death of many animals. Many birds abandon nests and their young. Deer and other wildlife get distressed and disoriented, leading to many of them running into neighborhoods and crossing busy roads, putting their and human lives at risk. Fireworks should also be banned in parks with adjoining forested areas. People say that they are no different than thunderstorms, but this is highly inaccurate. All animals are able to sense a storm coming or several hours prior. Fireworks are a sudden and extreme explosive that they are not prepared for, causing unimaginable fear. Dogs and cats have been known to get lost in an attempt to get as far from the danger as they can. Many shiver in fear, often for several hours, even inside a house. Medication should not be an option or an answer. Dogs and especially cats have exceptional hearing. Fireworks are now extremely loud. Just turning up the radio or television volume is no longer a solution. Actually, it never was a solution. Pet owners cannot prepare their animals for the onset. In many neighborhoods, fireworks are set off throughout the summer months and at all hours up to and including 2:30 a.m. During droughts, people regularly set off fireworks along the trail system and along the river, just feet from large areas of dried vegetation. Our summers are getting hotter and drier. The massive tree thinning in some areas that has been going on for several years dries out the forest floors, creating ideal conditions for devastating fires that can result from the sparks of fireworks. Controlled fireworks displays can equally be the cause of dangerous situations, if not in the proper areas. Thank you. That's.
Thank you, Mr. LaSalle. We've got some members who'd like to ask you some questions. Councilor Carpenter.
Thanks for coming, Bill. And you seem to be suggesting even further that not only should we be, because we're banning fireworks for private sales, but when we're lighting fireworks off at Canada Day, which is near the Grand River, and we light them off on New Year's Day and Victoria Day, you're also suggesting those cause the same damage to the animals.
Yes, well.
And so you're trying to make us aware that we recognize the damage that fireworks do, not
Right.
just in the environment when they're let off, but to the animals and the birds and so forth in the community.
Right. And,
Thank you for
what
coming.
also can be
I'm sorry.
done is laser and drone shows instead of the fireworks.
Yes, so a lot of the communities have moved to laser shows
And
because
that would create that would create more of an interest, I think.
and less pollution and less damage to the animals.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. LaSalle, for coming out tonight and providing us with your input into this issue we'll be dealing with tonight. Thank you. All right, members, that completes the delegation portion. Next, we'll deal with the clerk's report and communications, and I believe Councilor Caputo, you have that motion.
I do. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Sluss, that the clerk's report on communication for June 2026 be received.
Any discussion? Seeing none, call the vote.
The clerk's report and communication carries unanimously and recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council vote in favor. Councilors Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, and Tilborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
Thank you. Now we'll deal with minutes. I believe Councilor Tilborg, you have the motion to adopt the minutes listed on the agenda.
Yes, I do. Moved by myself, seconded by Counselor Samwell, that the following minutes be adopted. 12.1 Special City Council, May 2026. 12.2 Special City Council, Private and Confidential, May 2026. And 12.3 City Council, May 26, 2026.
Okay. Any errors, omissions? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
The approval of the minutes carries unanimously and recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor. Councilors Sullivan, Celeste McCurry, Hunt, and Tilborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, we'll move on to the committee reports have been separated for debate. Councilor Hunt, would you please read the motion to put all of those separated items on the floor for discussion?
I will, that all items in the committee reports, items 13.1 to 13.5, separated for discussion purposes, be approved.
And your seconder is Councilor
Oh,
Carpenter?
sorry, Councilor Carpenter.
Right, okay. All right, so the first one we'll deal with then. We'll deal with 13.1.1. There was two delegations, and that's the West Brant Access Route Environmental Assessment. So on this, there is one speaking opportunity up to 5 minutes. Floor is open for discussion. Councilor Hunt.
Thank you. And through you to staff, a couple of questions. The report that, oh, sorry, Jen, I didn't know if you were coming. No. So the report that we're receiving tonight, 2026-152, is the environmental assessment preferred alternative update. So you're giving us an update on the preferred alternative. What are the ramifications if the environmental assessment is paused?
Through the chair to you, Councillor Hunt. Great question. If we were to pause today, based on any of the comments received to date, there would be financial implications. We have proceeded with this, finishing the studies as we've detailed in the report. So that amount would need to be paid out to that consultant. So we would expend that consultant's PO, which is about $300,000 still to go. And then if we were to restart and finish the EA, then we would have to recur all those costs for those repeat studies.
So we would need to duplicate the work?
Well, we would need to finish the work, which would then duplicate the costs because they've already started doing, like finishing those studies. So we would have to pay out that money. In order to restart, we would have to repay those funds again.
Okay, so second alternative, what if we were to complete the EA and hold a public information session in Q4 of 2026 before we were to move any further on the project?
Through the chair to you, Councillor Hunt. So the process of the EA, which we are following, we would be working through those studies. We would finalize the ESR, the environmental study report. That would be finalized. Then we would be coming back to council with the completed studies and the preferred alternatives. So based on, we're finishing the archaeological assessment. So if there were to be something found and we would need to alter the alignment, that would then come back in that final preferred alternative. We could hold additional PICs at that time. We would just need to replenish a few funds for the very large mail out and the PIC itself. So there would be a little addition that would be needed for that. We could definitely do that for this study. Right now, the timelines we're looking at for completion of the EA, which is preferred to complete the EA and the studies ongoing, we're looking about the beginning of 2027. So about Q1 2027, we would have the final ESR, we would have our studies completed, and we would be moving into that potential additional engagement.
Okay, so receiving the report today allows you to complete the EA. So you've given us the update. We're going to complete the EA, and that work wouldn't be completed until early 2027 anyway.
Through the chair to you, Councillor Hunt, that is correct. The report is just an update. It's not looking for the permission to finish those studies because that was granted through the reinstatement of the EA, which was through the alternative transportation study report. So that's why we are still proceeding with those required studies. And we are looking at the timeline of Q1 2027.
So your next report is not coming back to this council anyway?
That is correct.
Good. Okay, thanks, Jen.
Okay, not seeing any other raised hands, I'll call the vote. Oh, Councillor Sullivan, go ahead.
A little quick there, Mr. Mayor. Jen, through you to Jen, what if we get to the end of this study and we determine that that's not the route we want to take? What costs are we going to be looking at now assessing the other options? Are we not going to be duplicating costs anyways?
Through the chair to you, Councillor Sullivan. So through the study, all the studies that will be completed, if there is something that is impeding that alignment, we would be adjusting it through this EA. We would adjust that preferred alignment. We would be bringing that back.
I understand. What I mean is if you come back in Q1 and the new council determines that's not the route they want to take and they want to go a different of one of the other options, are we now going to incur new costs to finish those studies?
Through the chair to you, Councillor Sullivan. So again, the purpose of an EA is to remove that bias and that political will, which is what's been going on through those last 40 years of studies. But if it is put forward by council to stop at that point in time and look somewhere else, then yes, there would have to be an additional environmental assessment study for that corridor that council would direct us to look at.
Good, thank you.
You're welcome.
You got to put your hand up if you want to debate this thing, otherwise we're going to vote. Okay, so we got the hands up now. Councilman McCreary, you're next.
Mayor, thank you very much, and it's through you to staff. So we know a thing or two about some of the alternatives we've pursued, right?
Through the chair to you, Councilor McCreary, yes?
And we know enough that the report is pointing us in a single direction to the route that's preferred.
Through the chair to you, so Councilor McCreary, so through the 2024 alternative transportation study, we did look at many different alternative routes. It did pull us back towards this location, this corridor, this area. So we have looked at that. Many alternative routes have been studied. So based on that problem statement, which is taking the the residential area in the Southwest Brantford, pulling it up to the employment area in the Northwest Industrial area, this is that preferred alternative.
But we learned enough about the alternatives to decide that this is the one.
Correct. Through the chair to you, Councilor McCreary, it is the preferred area that solves the problem statement.
Yeah.
Does not necessarily pinpoint to that exact alignment, which is what these studies in the EA are doing to identify that precise preferred alignment.
So the route could wiggle around in that corridor?
Through the chair to you, Councilor McCreary, it could, if something comes up in those studies that's identifying it, as well as any of the engagement, environmental impact studies, archaeological studies, heritage, all of those studies will define where that preferred alignment
So if
is.
there were to be an EGADS or a Eureka moment, it could result in a rethink of the precise alignment.
That is correct.
And we would know that by the end of March of 2027.
Through the chair to you, Councilor McCreary, that is correct.
Yeah,
That
so-
is our intention.
So the
with
decisions
finish-
made by this council are subject to revision at a later date if we discover in 2027 that it just ain't gonna work.
Correct.
Thank you.
Next, Councilor Van Tilburg.
Yes, thank you, Chair. How can the public participate in the EA? Can they submit documents? Can they highlight city documents that currently exist? I know that there's a significant portion that I heard earlier. I'm wondering what the stuff that they found that's outside of our peer review, what's the plan?
Through the chair to you, Councillor Van Tilburg, excellent question. Yes, those engagements, the contact is always welcome. They can register on the City of Brantford website. There is the EA website where they can register to be updated whenever anything comes up on the website, any changes, anything that gets submitted. We are always open for all emails, all correspondence that will be identified in the final ESR, the environmental study report. It will be all identified there, as well as any engagement to date. That includes the public consultation, the PICs, as well as our Six Nations of the Grand River, our Mississaugas of the Credit. All of our engagement will be identified in there, and it is welcomed.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilor Martin.
Thank you. Through you to staff. We had heard a presentation today say there were several wetlands along this route. Can you confirm how many wetlands are affected by the preferred route?
Thank you. Through the chair to you, James Clark, Senior Project Manager. So there is a few wetlands that have been identified as part of the natural inventories that have been carried out so far. I would say those are in the area, but majority, if not all, are outside of the corridor that's currently being investigated. So the exact alignment of that road. So that isn't to say there couldn't be natural environmental impacts. And as part of the continued EA, a big portion of what still needs to be done is field work in the natural environmental areas. because that's very seasonal, time-sensitive work that we can do now that we're into the warmer weather. So definitely categorizing what is out there and looking at the impacts and how it could be mitigated is something that still needs to be done. It's a key feature of the environmental assessment process.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Scobie.
Every question I had written down has already been addressed, but so I'll just add some speaking remarks at this point about this, and maybe I will ask you one question just because you're up here. To be clear to everybody, the final decision will be made by next council, correct?
Through the chair to you, Councillor Coley, that is correct. We will be returning with the final ESR with the recommendation for the preferred alternative. They will be posted on the city's website for engagement. We will post them for longer than the MECP deems necessary. They will be going to Six Nations of the Grand River. They'll be going to Mississaugas of the Credit, everything. Then following that, the final EA and the preferred alternative, the full design and construction will be coming back through the capital budget process. So there will be multiple chances for decisions.
Thank you for coming up here and clarifying. There's a lot of misinformation that I'm seeing floating around. And I understand that the public may not have a clear understanding of how this works, and it is extremely convoluted, and I get that. But our job as leaders is to have the capacity to weigh the needs of the many against the needs of the few, and to have the courage to act on that, and to have the capacity to move forward through this process, understanding the way that this works, and that we're not disregarding anything. We're simply in an information gathering phase of this. So next council will be the one to make that decision. Next council will have the full story. They'll be the ones that have the reports, the full EA reports, the assessments on the impact to the natural heritage area out there. They'll have the consultation with our Indigenous partners, that information. They're going to have any other impacts to the neighborhood, noise pollution and things like that. They're going to have the full story. They're going to be the ones that are able to interpret that and make a final decision on this. So there's a cost to delaying this every single time we've delayed this throughout the past. And so am I in favor of gathering more information? Yes. Am I in favor of more consultation? Yes. Am I in favor of more noise studies and environmental impact studies? Yes. And that's how I'll be voting today, too. Continuing to gather that information so that we're arming the next council. We're giving them the toolkit to be able to make this decision in a fulsome way. Thank you.
Councilor Caputo.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My stance that I mentioned previously when this was brought up, a cow hasn't changed. This is all about accepting and moving forward with our current EA. And as Councillor Sokoli and most have said already, this will be a next council. And it was welcoming to actually hear tonight Ms. Sordas referring to the fact that, yes, I have been employed to do the job for 4 years and not just 3.5. But I think it's necessary that we carry on with what is already in place. We have a lot of money invested in it, and we'll let the results speak when they come forward. Thanks.
Okay, I'm going to call the vote. Oh, Councilor Carpenter.
Yeah, so why is the report here is just an update? It's an update, so why is the report here for us to receive it? You could just provide us with an update.
Through the chair to you, Councillor Carpenter. So the report was just to update council on the progress to date, what we have revised to date, what we have heard to date, to provide everyone with that understanding so we could put that correct information forward. And being as that the approvals to proceed into the finishing studies are not required, it's just a matter to update.
So it's just an update whether so you just brought it forward as a courtesy for us to receive the information.
That is correct, sir.
And the approval for proceed in that route has already been given.
That is correct, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, I'm going to call the vote.
Item 13.1.1 carries on a recorded vote of 8-3. Members of council vote in favor. Councilors Sullivan, Schlesman, Kirby, Hunt, Martin, Caputo, Coley, Mayor Davis. Members opposed. Councilors Carpenter, Samuel, and Van Tilburg.
Great, we'll go on to the, excuse me, the next item, which that will be the firework usage report, as we did receive 2 delegations on that. So floor is open for discussion. Councillor Hunt. We want to make an amendment. Do you mind holding it for people to see if there's any general comment?
I will hold the.
All right. And I would suggest the members, we hear the amendment and then, because there's going to be debate on the entire thing after that. Does anybody want to speak before we receive Councillor Hunt's amendment? Nope. Oh, sorry, Council. Go ahead, Council.
Point of order first. I actually voted in error. I wanted to vote no, not yes. If that
You
can be
mean-
corrected, please.
Yep, the previous item you're talking about.
Yes.
Yep, okay. Well, let's go to the item that's on the agenda, and that's fireworks. Council Sicoli.
I have a question of staff. I'm assuming it's Dave, but did I understand correctly at Cal that we were going to be reviewing our bylaw enforcement and the way that we go about doing that in an upcoming cycle?
Dave Weider, Director of Bylaw and Security, through the chair. Correct. Yes, that'll be coming to council next month.
So next cycle?
Yes.
Okay. I wish I waited to hear the amendment first, but just as I'll continue to, I'm going to be voting against this only because I don't think we've given it a fair shake at properly enforcing and regulating our own bylaws. And as a personal philosophy, I don't believe in interfering with anybody's business or the good, hardworking, law-abiding citizens that are enjoying their lives and their properties. The issues are not with fireworks. The issues is with our own inability to enforce our own firework bylaws. And depending on what the amendment is, I would like to see a deferral so that we can look at this alongside our updated bylaw enforcement tools that are coming forward to see if there might be a way that perhaps we can enforce our own bylaws as they currently stand before moving into a full ban and see if that works. So I will wait for the amendment, but might have a deferral depending on what that looks like.
Well, Councillor Hunt, why don't you put your amendment on the floor?
So moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Carpenter that item B, we remove the words "and sale." So that item B would strictly be banning the use of consumer personal fireworks in the city of Brantford beginning January 2027. And if I can speak to the amendment.
Yes.
So I feel, so we were given one option, which was the status quo and keep everything as it is, which allows people to set off fireworks. And the consultation that we did, the biggest complaint were people lighting off fireworks in and around our holidays, which are currently mandated or currently regulated under our current bylaw. My issue with banning the sale of consumer fireworks is that it puts, as we've heard tonight, a Brantford business at a very distinct disadvantage. Because unless there was a provincial ban on the sale of consumer fireworks, people, and call them the bad actors that are likely going to go and buy fireworks anyway, can drive 10 minutes out of town and buy them and still set them off, in which case Mr. Weidrich's staff is going to be going out. And if we implement this ban on the use of them, is going to be going out and ticketing or whatever we're going to do to those people. But there is not a province-wide ban on the use of them. And so people outside of our city do buy fireworks, whether it's from, as we've heard, Six Nations, or they come into Brantford and do some shopping and buy them only during the prescribed time that they're allowed at a business that's located here in Brantford. And we did hear tonight from the delegation, the business will be, has been around for 59 years, those 60 years next year. pays $31,000 in property taxes to the city. And this ban on the sale of the fireworks is going to impact them to the tune of 40% of their business, which is, I think that's unfair of us to put that competitive disadvantage on an existing Brantford business that's longstanding. So we're not talking about business that pops up on the allotted time that they're allowed to sell, but we're talking about a business that's been operating for nearly 60 years in Ward 4, right on Edmondson Street, and pays taxes to the municipality. And for us to implement this ban on the sale of fireworks, which we've heard, a good 80% of those sales are not even from Brantford residents. They're people that are buying and setting them off in another municipality or at their cottage or somewhere that they are allowed to set them off. So I hope everyone supports the removal of the words and sale, and then allows a business that's here in Brantford, longtime business, paying property taxes. And from an economic development perspective, I just don't think it's fair for council to implement a ban on the sale of a product that people can buy elsewhere quite readily. So thank you.
Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If this amendment passes, the whole resolution is pretty much redundant. So I'm not, because of that, I feel that the amendment should be ruled out of order.
I'm not going to rule it out of order.
Okay. I'll be voting against the amendment because I think it makes the whole resolution redundant. If you don't like the resolution, just vote against it. By amending it like this, it's just a two-step process instead of one. If we don't ban the sale, we're gonna have the same problems with the people that don't obey the rules now. They're gonna continue to buy them. They're gonna continue to set them off at midnight, at 2 o'clock in the morning, in our parks, on our trails. And it's the whole reason for this resolution being here is the bad actors. It's unfortunate that a few can spoil it for everyone else, but that's what we're faced with. And so I'll be voting against the resolution. And if the resolution passes, I'll be voting against the resolution because it won't mean anything.
All right, debate to the amendment. Next, Councillor Caputo.
Thanks. I'm in the camp of the fact that I don't want a business to stop selling fireworks. I am against individuals that are doing these things in residential areas. I said the last time we talked about this is that I'm for fireworks. I'd love to see more events where fireworks are taking place, whether it be through neighborhood associations and so forth. But I'm not here to take somebody's livelihood away from them. It's ironic. You have to be 19 years old to buy cigarettes, but you don't have to be 19 years old to smoke them. So we don't tell stores they can't sell to specific people. We do, but then we don't monitor that. I'm hoping Bylaw on Fire can do the job that we're asking them to do this way, but I don't want to take away from someone's livelihood.
Councillor Van Tilburg.
I'll be supporting the amendment. You know, I'm back in the day when I was a child, fireworks were banned in the city. But the irony was back then, I don't recall when I was a child that the Reserve was selling the fireworks at the time. They're actually sold within the city of Brantford. So we would drive into Brantford, buy the fireworks and come back out to the county where I lived at the time and set them off there. So this basically states the same thing. I also don't believe it's right to harm a business, especially when many of their sales are outside of the city of Brantford. You're basically saying, please take your business somewhere else. I also don't think that's the right message. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed when I moved to Brantford as a teen. The city neighborhood associations would put on fireworks down at the Helen Ave, the park there. I remember that to this day. That's an embedded memory. I really think that's a better way to engage the community if we're going to have fireworks. I think we've all seen what's happened in the last year with the number of phone calls we get because we started to expand the number of days, and I don't think that was a popular thing. So with that, I'm happy to support the amendment. I think that our bylaw will be quite capable in enforcing what will transpire in the future.
Councillor Carpenter to the amendment.
Hey, Mr. Mayor, just speaking to the amendment only, just be clear about the sale of fireworks within the community. When you can drive 10 minutes and get them in the county, or you can drive 20 minutes and get them in Six Nations, or 15 minutes, I should say, Six Nations, depending where you are in the city. That all we're doing is taking a gentleman's business and saying, hey, you can go buy them somewhere else. We're still going to have the rule of law that says you can't light them off in the city of Brantford without a permit, without a proper location. I don't think this resolution this amendment does anything to harm the resolution whatsoever. It just, because they're still not going to be allowed to set them off without a permit. So there are two separate issues. Thank you.
Councillor McCurry. Mayor, I have a further amendment to the amendment. I wonder if you might consider that I speak now and then introduce my amendment later. What would your rule, sir?
I think we've heard from most of the members of council want to speak to this amendment. So let's hear your amendment of the amendment.
If we could ask the clerk to put that up. Seconded by Councillor Martin. The amendment reads that sales to Brantford residents be prohibited, that proof of residence be required from purchasers, and that signage is authorized by not City of Brantford, I misspelled that. You might imagine that I meant to say City of Brantford, be displayed citing bylaw and penalties. In speaking to this, Mayor, I accept some of the arguments that have been made. I think if we can attract $30,000 in property taxes from a business that only operates 12 days a year, if only we could find more businesses like that to locate here. I think there are probably more than the one fireworks company that's in town. That's my understanding. I look at the argument about folks being able to buy their fireworks at Six Nations or County of Brant. And I'm thinking that's resolved quite nicely by Mr. Weidrich renting those portable signs on Cockshutt Road and Highway 24, indicating to people as they're coming and going, for instance, from Six Nations, that you can buy all the fireworks you want, but you better not light them off in the city of Brantford because there's a penalty for it. So we heard from Mr. Dirks tonight, and he very much gave me the idea that we further amend this. He seems to be good with not selling to Brantford residents to be used within the city of Brantford. He seemed to be okay with getting proof of residence, and he seemed to be okay with displaying signage that indicates to people of Brantford that you can't light them off here. So I think if you're going to support the amendment tonight, then you might want to support the amendment to the amendment, because I think it improves exactly what's before us this evening. It does exactly what we want to do, what our professional staff in bylaw and fire have put before us tonight. And it allows Mr. Darks and the other folks who sell fireworks here to continue to do that, but being within what the city of Brantford would like to see with respect to the prohibition of lighting them off here. So let me reiterate, if you're going to support the amendment before us, I think you ought to support the amendment to the amendment, because it makes the amendment better, which maybe makes the original resolution better. So I'd be hopeful that folks would give consideration to this.
To the amendment, Councillor Sicoli.
I will not be supporting this. I don't think it's for us to tell a business how to operate. I agree with, sure, put some signage up in the store just so that people understand where they are allowed to use this. But to say no Brantford resident can buy fireworks in a store is far overstepping what our reach should be. It's preposterous. So I will need this separated, like each item separated, because I will not be voting for one or two. But sure, put a sign up in the store.
All right, so I'll take your request for, we can deal with those on a separated basis. So, but no, I'm getting to you, Councillor Caputo. All right. So your turn to speak is next. So go ahead.
Still not understanding the delay. So if I'm correct, we still can, with permit, purchase fireworks. Am I correct with that? If it's done accordingly?
Through the chair, correct, yes, with a permit from the fire department.
That's right. So basically, how does this work if we're not selling to Brantfordians? If we have maybe 10, 12 groups a year looking to buy fireworks, we are gonna ship them out to other cities to buy the fireworks, which doesn't make any sense to me. So I'm not supporting this part of the amendment, certainly supporting the first part about the sale.
Councillor Hunt.
Speaking to the amendment, I can't support 1 or 2. And primarily because I think that puts an onus on a business owner that other business owners do not have. We certainly don't put that onus on other businesses. The other challenge is you could be buying from a Brantford business and taking these fireworks to your cottage and lighting them off, which is certainly legal. So by saying that we would be banning or prohibiting sales to Brantford residents and that proof of residence be required from purchasers, I think that's overstepping our boundaries as council. As far as signage goes, I'm sure Mr. Weidrich, as part of bylaw enforcement, can ask businesses that sell fireworks to put up signage that says, yes, you are not authorized to fire off fireworks in the city of Brantford. So I don't think we need to make that part of the resolution. So just to keep it clean, just removing the words "and sale."
Councillor Carpenter.
Yeah, I guess ditto with the Councillor Segoli and Councillor Hunt. I agree 100%. Item 1 and number 2 is quite the overreach, and so then you got to say I got to get someone from the county to come in and buy my fireworks for me so I can take them to a legal place where I can light them off, and we put all that onus on the business to police that. I think if they're illegal in the city to light off, that's a rule. That's the way it is, and we don't penalize the business or make the business have to manage that. The signage is fine, but item 1 and 2 I can't support. It is, as was said, quite the overreach and not something we should be putting upon the business.
Okay, I'm going to call the vote on the amendment, and we're going to deal with each of them individually. Mr. Clerk?
Through the chair, so the first one, that sales to Brantford residents be prohibited. Number 1 of the amendment to the amendment is lost and recorded vote of 3-8. Members of council vote in favor.
Could I correct that? I've read it wrong. The other way is the way I wish to vote.
All right. Duly noted. Members of council voting in, oh, there it goes. Anyways, you can find it in the minutes.
Let's move on to the second.
The second item is that proof of residence should be required from the purchasers. And that is lost on a recorded vote of 2-9. Members of council voting in favor are as follows: Councillors McCreary and Martin. Members opposed: Councillors Sullivan, Sless, Hunt, and Tilborg, Samuel, Carpenter, Computo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right, third item, read the signs.
And the third item carries and recorded vote of 8-3. Members of council vote in favor: Councillors Sullivan, Sless, McCreary, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Mayor Davis. Members opposed: Councillors Sokoli, Caputo, and Hunt.
All right, so we have the amendment brought forward by Councillor Hunt. It has been amended with the provision in respect to signs. So I'm going to, does anybody else want to speak to the amendment? Not seeing anyone else, I'll call the vote on the amendment. And Mr. Clerk, if you just confirm what the amendment says.
Through the chair, it's the amendment as amended, which essentially removes the word "and sale" and requires signage regarding the use of fireworks in the city of Brantford.
So you vote yes, you're voting yes to there being sales in Brantford. Okay, with signs. Okay, let's call that vote.
The amendment as amended carries on a recorded vote of 10-1. Members of council vote in favor. Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillor Martin.
All right, so the resolution is amended. Any further debate before I call the vote? Yes, Councillor Carpenter.
Yes, having not spoke to the motion yet as amended, I just wanted to raise the concern. I think that Mr. LaSalle had a good point when he talked about there's other options besides fireworks that can, and other countries and communities have moved to that direction by having light shows that are in fact far more effective and just as wonderful as fireworks, and without the damage to the environment and to the wildlife. And I've known Mr. LaSalle for a long time. He's very cautious about the environment and about animals and creatures in nature. I've heard from him on other issues. So I just would think that we should look forward in the future as we talk about, climate change and promoting smoke into the environment that doesn't necessarily be there. We should be looking at these kinds of things going forward. Thank you.
Right, I'll call the vote.
Item 13.4.6 as amended carries on a recorded vote of 9-2. Members of council vote in favor. Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Caputo, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councillors Sokoli and Martin.
All right, so we've dealt with the matters that we had delegations on. We'll now move to the other three matters in chronological order. The first will be 13.2.1, the Brantford Brant Housing Stability Plan. Councillor Samuel, you asked for this to be separated.
Thank you, and through you, Mr. Mayor. We had the opportunity to see this report at Social Services, and I just wanted to again reiterate the amount of work that's gone into this, the research and the engagement into developing this report. Something that this report makes clear is that one thing is that we're not going to be able to shelter our way out of homelessness. Emergency shelters are important, but this plan highlights that the real need is more transitional and supportive housing and affordable housing options. That helps people move from crisis to stability. I also appreciate the focus on prevention and measurable outcomes that are in this report and long-term planning. The plan acknowledges the challenges that we're facing, but provides a clear path forward. And I also just wanted to thank staff again and everybody that participated in putting this report together. And I look forward to seeing it implemented. Thank you.
All right, not seeing any other debate. I'll call the vote on item 13.2.1.
Item 13.2.1 carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor. Councillors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
Right, we'll move to the fourth item that was separated, and that's item 13.3.2. That's the draft plan of vacant land condominium 29 CD 25524 Re 209 Mount Pleasant Road. Councillor Van Tilburg, you asked for this to be separated.
Just so I can vote against it.
Not seeing any discussion, I'll call the vote.
13-3-2 carries on a recorded vote of 9-2. Members of council voting in favor, Councilors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Samwell, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis. Members opposed, Councilors Carpenter and Van Tilburg.
Right, the last item we have separated is item 13.4.1. That's the amendment to chapter 478 of the City of Brantford Municipal Code. This is separated because of Councilor McCreary's conflict. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the vote.
Item 13.4.1 carries unanimously and recorded vote of 10-0, noting Councilor McCreary's conflict. Members of council voting in favor, Councilors Sullivan, Celeste, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
Thank you. So we have no urgent reports this evening. We do have one resolution coming out of a previous in-camera meeting. I believe Councilor Carpenter, you have the resolution to read, and if you do that and state your seconder.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You're doing a fine job tonight. It's moved by myself and seconded by my ward mate, Councilor Linda Hunt. The council ratify the settlement reached between the Corporation of the City of Brantford and ATU Conventional and Brantford Lift Local 685 for a renewal collective agreement from January 1st, 2026 to December 21st, 2029. And speaking to it, many members of council have heard from lots of the transit riders in support of the drivers and workers for ATU on all levels. And the response from most of us, I believe, was we also support our transit drivers and our transit. And just speaking, we've had a great loss in transit recently. I'm not going to speak directly to that, but I give the credit to this council and of course also Councilor Weaver in the past for this council moving directly forward with transit, increasing transit expenditures and for this community to make a better transit service. So thank you to the drivers and everybody involved for making this contract possible. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just say as from the position of mayor, I support this as well. It provides for a resolution of the pay package and benefit package for our much valued transit staff that is competitive and is comparable to other municipalities. I think for those who use the transit system, and that's ever growing year by year, this is good news for transit users because there will not be a strike. And that's always good news. So I think the third item to consider is that we are making this council decided to make a massive investment in our transit system. We're in the second of the 3-year program, and that could have all been seriously jeopardized with a labor disruption. And so I'm quite pleased, as I'm sure other members of council are, that we've been able to resolve this to the satisfaction of all those concerned. So with that, Councilor McCreary.
Mayor, thank you very much. Just to be clear, this council gives direction with respect to our professional staff in terms of negotiating agreements with our partner organizations like ATU, CUPE, and so on. So we give the parameters, the goalposts, the guardrails, so to speak. The union representatives and our folks at City of Brantford, HR and corporate are the ones that negotiate the contract settlement. They've done a good job of this. We as council are here tonight to simply approve of that because it meets with what we established as our goals to begin with. So lots of hard work on behalf of the union and on behalf of our corporate people. And as the mayor said, this gives us a guarantee of professional, efficient service for a number of years to come.
Right, with that, I'll call the vote.
Item 15.1 carries unanimously on a recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council vote in favor, Councilors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
Right, so we have one notice of motion. Councilor Hunt, if you please read the title of your notice of motion.
Emergency Response Address Alert Program.
So we'll look forward to dealing with that in the July cycle. Then we'll move into bylaws, and I believe Councilor Martin is your turn to read the bylaws. With the seconder.
I move, seconded by Councilor McCreary, bylaw 63, 2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 70-2010 by amending corporate policy 45. Bylaw 64-2026 being a bylaw to amend zoning on the lands municipally known as 161 Hackborn Road from general employment zone to general employment exception 41 zone. Bylaw 65-2026 bylaw to amend chapter 478 of the City of Brantford Municipal Code. Bylaw 66-2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 70-2010 by amending corporate policy 010 delegation authority. 67-2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 70-2010 by adopting corporate policy 59 responsible computing and corporate policy 60 artificial intelligence. Bylaw 68-2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 70-2010 to repeal finance policy 005 brownfield site reserve fund reserve allocation, and to repeal and replace finance policy 002 budget items balanced by reserves and reserve funds, finance policy 009 general reserves and reserve fund policy, and finance policy 011 purchasing card policy. Bylaw 69-2026 being a bylaw to amend bylaw 101-2024 being a bylaw to authorize the Southwest Community Center Phase 2 project and to make provisions for the financing of the foregoing. Bylaw 70-2026 bylaw to amend bylaw 144-88 being a bylaw to regulate parking in the City of Brantford. Bylaw 71-2026 bylaw to amend bylaw 37-83 being a bylaw to regulate traffic in the City of Brantford. 72-2026 being a bylaw to amend Fulton Street traffic control. 73-2026 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Council of the Corporation of the City of Brant with respect to the meeting held on June 23rd, 2026.
City member of council, yes. Council Van Tilburg.
Just a question, does bylaw 65-2026 require a different seconder? I believe that's, if I'm correct, 478 is a signed bylaw.
No, any conflict in that? Yeah, we should, that's a great point, Councillor Van Tilburg. Because we do have the conflict, so Councillor Sullivan, you'll agree to be the seconder. I think that makes it simple. You're okay with that, Councillor Martin?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, so we'll certainly deal separately with the bylaw 65-2026 as a Councillor McCreary's conflict. Councillor Carpenter, anything else you want separated?
64.
64, that's the 161 Hashbourne Road. Okay, we'll deal with that separately. Anyone else? All right. Mr. Clerk, if you would please take the vote on all the items that have not been separated. Okay.
All bylaws not separated for discussion purposes carries unanimously and recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor, Councilors Sullivan, Celeste McCreary, Hunt, and Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, Mayor Davis.
All right, let's deal then next with, let's deal with 65-2026. That's the one that Councilor McCreary has the conflict on. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the vote.
Bylaws 65-2026 carries unanimously and recorded vote of 10-0. Members of council voting in favor, Councilors Sullivan, Celeste, Hunt, and Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
The remaining bylaw separated, which is 64-2026, that's the bylaw regarding the lands at 161 Hashbourne Road, amending the zoning from general employment to general employment exception. Councillor Van Tilburg.
I guess I should vote. Is that what you're looking for?
Oh, discussion. Does anybody?
Oh,
want
no
to-
discussion. Sorry.
Okay, you just
I
wanted
was
a
just
separate
checking
vote.
an email that came in last second.
Okay.
I have nothing to discuss.
Okay, so well, there is discussion, so I'll start with Councillor Carpenter.
Yes, it was I that separated it.
Sorry.
That's quite fine. The reason I separated this is a good news story. DJ Sausage Factory has been in the community for many, many years and expanding the business to the property next door. And all they're doing is making this change so they can carry on their business as they've been for 30 years or more. And just as a congratulations story to them, it's a good news story. So I want to separate it so the community could understand what it was for. Thank you.
Councillor Hunt.
I think my question got answered. I just wanted to know what the difference between, and the bylaws not up, general employment and general employment, whatever the other. The amendment.
Did you want staff to provide you with an answer?
No, I think I'm fine.
Think you got it. Okay. All right. I'll call the vote then on bylaw 64, 2026.
Bylaw 64, 2026 carries unanimously and recorded vote of 11-0. Members of council voting in favor, councillors Sullivan, Celeste, McCreary, Hunt, Van Tilburg, Samuel, Carpenter, Martin, Caputo, Sokoli, and Mayor Davis.
All right. So while the clerk and I sign the bylaws, we'll do ward announcements, and I'll go to Councillor Sullivan.
That hasn't happened too often. Not too much to report, but obviously we have Canada Day approaching really quick. So in the beautiful first ward at over at Lions Park, we're gonna have a lot going on. We have marketplace vendors, Kids Zone Carnival and Midway, food vendors. There'll be fireworks. And we have a couple of good bands in there, especially Tom Wilson and Finger 11 will be closing it out before the fireworks display. So come on down to the beautiful first ward and celebrate Canada Day with us.
Okay. Councillor Van Tilburg. Okay. Councillor Sokoli.
Yes, thank you. All I have is happy Canada Day, and I want to wish my mom a happy retirement this Friday. And I'm sure she's not watching, but I might, record this and send it to her to let her know that I do pay attention. Thank you.
Councillor Samuel.
Thank you. So I just have a few things. So I just wanted to remind people that beginning on Wednesday, June 24th, ICOM Drive will be fully closed between Colburn Street and Hill Street while crews complete the deepest underground infrastructure work of the project. One lane of traffic in each direction will remain open between Hill Street and Clarence Street South, and the closure is expected to remain in place until the end of August. And just a couple more notes. Hill Street, the exit of the Market Street Parkade, the Hill Street exit, will remain temporarily closed, but all of the other entrances remain open and vehicles must exit using ICOM Drive though. The easternmost Farmers Market driveway on ICOM Drive will be temporarily closed for a couple of weeks during road construction as we're wrapping things up there. And alternate entrances though from ICOM Drive and Clarence Street South will remain open. So I just wanted to mention that the market is having local vendors and downtown businesses during construction, so make sure that you support them. There's also a lot of great reasons to visit, including the outdoor market that is coming up and the trail mix events. And just to thank everybody for their patience during the construction. And on a more exciting note, I also wanted to mention that the Downtown BIA is doing a Detour to Delicious Dig In and Enjoy contest. So if you shop, dine, and explore the downtown Brantford for your chance to win monthly prizes. So simply just make a purchase at any participating downtown Brantford BIA business, keep your receipt and upload it through the contest link that can be found on the Downtown Brantford BIA website at downtownbrantford.ca. And every eligible receipt gives you a chance to be entered into a month's prize draw. So support local, discover downtown, and take a detour for something delicious. Thanks.
Councillor Slauson.
What I had, Mr. Mayor, has been announced.
Okay. Councillor Carpenter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just want to remind everybody that this will be the end of the school week, the end of the school year this week. The kids will be out excited. Some of the high school students already are out and are excited. So just drive slower, be more careful. They're excited. They're not necessarily looking, so we need to look for them. And one other thing I'd like to suggest to parents out there, please look online, check out the regulations for the e-scooters, how fast they can go, what the requirement is for whether you can drive them or not, and what the securities are for having, you have to have insurance for some of them. You need to wear helmets. please look online and make sure that if you're providing a scooter for your child, that they're doing it legally, because there's a influx of scooters throughout the community, and that we don't want to see anybody get hurt. Thank you.
Councillor Caputo.
Thank you. Let everybody know that Eats and Beats is going to be on Saturday, July 18th at Harmony Square. Come on out, everybody. It's going to be a great event. Looking forward to seeing everybody. There's a lot of things. There'll be food trucks, there'll be vendors, and there'll be entertainment as well. Also, July the 5th, Brantford Station has a picnic in the park. And on August 29th, they have a movie in the park. And the other thing I want to call out is, don't forget, on July 24th and 25th is the Call Home Music Festival. That has some very good headliners this year. To name a few, they got Bush, The Offspring, and Matthew Good. So hopefully get to see everybody out at Call Home, Canada Day, and Eats and Beats.
Councillor Hunt.
Thank you. So two things. Tomorrow, we're having a grand opening of Airedale Park, 10:30 till 2:30, I believe. So we have the schools in the area that are coming out, and also the East Ward Echo Place Neighborhood Association. And also tomorrow is the 15th anniversary of the Grand River Council on Aging. They have their annual general meeting tomorrow afternoon at the Best Western, celebrating 15 years of supporting seniors in our community.
Thank you. Councillor McCrory.
Well, thank you, Mayor. It's always good to back cleanup. So congratulations, Fulton Street folks. You're going to be two-way traffic again pretty darn soon. Be out there to get those one-way signs down, and you can start parking the way you used to. Just a reminder, if you have an ATV, please don't be riding it around in Grand Woodlands. It doesn't belong on the streets. It doesn't belong on our parks. And the bylaw people are out to get you. It's not permissible. Canada Day has already been announced. Kids are out of school. Brantford Symphony Orchestra, log on to their website. They're having a tryouts for the new artistic director. They got 4 performances this year. Go to the website. It's brantfordsymphony.ca. Buy some tickets, support these folks. I didn't hear anybody, perhaps I missed it, but I didn't hear anybody make an announcement about the opening of Airedale Park tomorrow. Councillor Hunt did. Okay, 1 o'clock, Rodden Street. Get there early. That's the official opening, when the mayor will be there to make his remarks. There'll be kids there all day. Parking is limited. And I want to follow up on something another speaker said. If you're going to buy your kid a scooter and the kid's under 16, buy a helmet too. And for those of you who have young girls, it's not all about the hair looking good. It's about protecting their skulls in the event of an accident. Do the right thing and protect your kids. And that's my announcement.
Last but not least, Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to correct one item, children under 16 are not allowed to ride e-bikes. They're restricted from riding. So if you're planning on buying one for your child, you're gonna have to look for something different for them to ride. It's for their safety. That's because they don't necessarily know the rules of the road. And it's something that unfortunately is overlooked. The other thing that is overlooked with e-bikes is you're not allowed to have a passenger. You see a lot of times there's people with e-bikes where there's 2 people on it, and that is illegal. You're not allowed to. And the other one, if you take the pedals off an e-bike, it's no longer an e-bike. It has to be registered and licensed and insured. So if you are getting one for, and if an adult's getting one and they want to take the pedals off, keep that in mind, because you will be charged with not having insurance or a license for the vehicle. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I'll call for an adjournment of our June council meeting.